So I know we just did an FAQ yesterday. I get it. I totally respect it. That's awesome. But another frequently asked Q that we get a lot over here is all about Lye Master Batching. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm rushed because this is a weird, crazy week of back to school and all the things. And so I'm just with you for a little bit today. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for day 344 of 365 days of soap. And yeah, today, as I said, we're talking about Lye Master Batching today. When to do it, when I do it, what benefit there is, how to do it, all of the things, because I get a lot of questions about that. And I've also been getting a lot of questions about that within the Discord. And so I wanted to make sure that we have a video for it that we can put probably in the Back to Basics playlist as well. Not that that's a beginner tactic by any stretch of the imagination, but just for now, until the next playlist for like intermediate and advanced soap making techniques come out, you get it. So you know what master batching is and can refer to it when you have questions. So I'm not going to be master batching things while I'm doing this. I'm going to be making soaps. I think they're beer soaps, but let's get to the video. You can watch the making of the beer soap thing while I talk. Okay, so Lye Master Batching, and we are making some beer soaps. So it's actually a very good time to be talking about Lye Master Batching because beer soaps are one of the many reasons why I don't do it. But Lye Master Batching, a lot of people do it. What's the benefit? Really, the big benefit to Lye Master Batching is not having to wait for your lye solution to cool down. That's cool. It's one benefit. That's it. With that comes a whole lot of headaches. Like your fumes, for example, apparently are way worse. I don't know. I don't experience problems with lye fumes either way. So there is that because you're mixing a lot more lye and at a heavier concentration. So there's that. 2, reasonably, most people recommend that you use every little bit of your Lye Master Batch within 1 to 2 weeks of making your Lye Master Batch. Why? Well, because if it's exposed to air, the lye will get less potent. And also, it's, impurities. I don't know. Just reasons. People say reasons. That's it. I don't know either way. Personally, I have used lye that has been sitting for, 2-3 weeks, and it still made a delightful bar soap. Whatever. Anyway, also along with all of that comes a whole lot of questions, like, how do I reheat my lye after I've master batched so it can be at 120 degrees? So that's a question. Yep. How do I store the lye? Yep. Another question. How do I make the solution and then add other stuff to it? That's another question. Okay. Lots of questions come from something that's supposed to make your life easier. All right. So Lye Master Batching. There are basically 2 ways that I would recommend doing it. One would be a 50-50 split. So a 1-to-1 ratio of your lye to your water. So you're doing a 1-to-1, a 50-50 concentrated batch of your lye solution. Mixing that up and then using that in all of your batches by weighing things out. We'll talk more about that in a minute. 2, the other way to do that would be to mix up if you have a very specific oil recipe that you always use, let's say the basic 3, right? So equal parts coconut, olive, and palm, and you always super fat that at 3%, well, mix up that just in much bigger forms, because that lye isn't going to change. You get it? Right. So that's another option. If you find yourself using the exact same lye concentration and really the same oils and superfats all the time, you can totally do that too, and it saves you some time for waiting for your lye to cool down. Personally, I do not think this is something that a beginner should ever do, first and foremost. I also don't think that there's much benefit to doing it if you are not a beginner also. But, you know, that's okay. If you want to do that, you live your best life. I instead prefer to just learn how to manage my time and do other things while my lye is cooling down. And that seems to work out well for me. But in a 50-50 split or a specific, lye concentration ratio, because you use the same oils and super fat for all of your batches, it's basically the same thing both ways. You are going to measure out your lye and your water in a bigger container that can be moved and stored and sealed easily. So like a liquid laundry detergent container, I've heard tell that works pretty well. Right. I really do recommend something like that with the twist off cap, and not one that has not like a bucket that you have to bang the lid onto, because while you're prying the lid off, could be a little bit dangerous. You've got a rather heavy lye solution in there. I'm just saying. So in a 50-50 split, you would take 1 part lye to 1 part water. So let's say you want to make 100 ounces of a lye solution, right? Of a Lye Master Batch. So you would weigh out your 50 ounces of water, and then you would add to that your 50 ounces of lye. Now you have your 100 ounces of a 50-50 lye solution. Then what do you do with it? Well, then you let it cool, you cap it, and you put it aside, and then you weigh out the lye solution that you're going to need, for each individual batch, which actually means there is more math. Now, there are soap calcs out there that will do these maths for you, I think. I'm pretty sure like Soap Making Friend is one of them. I think someone told me that in the comments of a video once. So it sounds like Soap Making Friend is a pretty cool little, lye calculator there. So check that out for sure. But regardless of what you do, because you do not soap at say 50% or, half and half lye and water, you need more water in that to achieve your end goal. Then what? What do you do with this 100 ounces of equal parts lye and water? Okay, so let's say for your solution, you've mixed up a big Lye Master Batch using 2.4 times water to lye in the batch, and that's what you use for all of your soaps. That's great. Then what you would do is you would take the amount of lye and water combined in your recipe and just weigh that out of your bigger container, and you now have the lye for that soap. Easy enough. And that's really the only circumstances that I would ever use this, is if I knew I was making a whole bunch of soaps and they all had the exact same lye concentration. That's why when I would do this, because it's wildly easier. It's not really any more math. Now let's say you did a 50-50 concentration. Well, in that case, let's say for your actual recipe, you need 5 ounces of lye. Okay, cool. So you got to get 5 ounces of lye out of that container. How are you going to do that? Well, it's 50-50 batch, so you are going to double it. And instead of pouring 5 ounces out, you're going to pour 10 ounces out. So what does that mean? Well, you have your 5 ounces of lye that you need for your recipe, but also you have 5 ounces of water. Let's say the total of the amount of water that you need for this recipe is 10 ounces. So what do you do at that point? Well, you add the extra 5 ounces of water to your lye solution, or whatever else you put in there. Could be beer, could be milk, whatever. whatever. And then you have the total weight that you need for your lye solution to make your soap at whatever superfat you're wanting to make it at. So there's that. The problem with something like this comes within that secondary maths piece. Remembering what solution you made. So I highly recommend getting a piece of blue tape and writing on it big letters and taping it on the side of whatever container you master batch in, so you know exactly what that master batch, concentration is. But 2, 5 ounces of lye and 10 ounces of water are never something that you ever see in a recipe. It's never that simple. It's, 4.83 ounces of lye and 11.22 ounces of water. Those are real actual measurements for a bar that I make 1 million times a year. But anyway, that's more complicated because it's not that simple, is it? It's not 5 and 10, nice easy numbers. You have to start doing maths. And when you have to start doing maths, you can start making mistakes. And so I do not recommend actually doing a Lye Master Batch until you really super duper know what you're doing, for sure. And if you do that, I really do think you should only start it with a recipe that you're going to use over and over and over again. So the exact same oil blend, the exact same superfat, therefore the exact same lye and water ratios, and start there so you get familiar with the process of actually using lye that has been pre-prepared. Now, to the rest of it, the lye that has been pre-prepared, the questions regarding how to warm it up or how to, test for purity or how to store it. Yeah, like I said, we're going to answer those questions. But like I said, this thing that's supposed to make your life easier comes with a whole lot of questions. Okay, so first question, how do you reheat your lye? I wouldn't. Don't. What's the point? That you need to pour your lye at a certain temperature is one of the bigger, pervasive, annoying myths that won't go away in the soap making world. It annoys me almost as much as the glass thing, but you don't need to. You've seen, me and countless others do this 1 million times. So it's not, you don't have to have your lye solution hot, at 120 degrees or whatever. If you wanted it hotter because you want to work with layers or you want to make sure gel or whatever, make your oils hot. And then the heat of the oils and the coolness of the lye will basically work itself out. Again, this is something that I don't recommend you guys do until you have lots and lots of soap recipes and soap batches under your belt, because false trace is usually a thing when you have issues with cool lye and or oils. But don't heat up your lye solution. It's not necessary. How to do it, I'm not even going to tell you because you don't need to. Please don't do that. 2, how to store it. Again, I recommend storing it in a obviously lye-safe container. Something like a liquid detergent bottle for your clothes washing would be a great idea. It's made out of the right plastic. It has a nice screw top. It makes everything, nice and safe because of that screw top. And also you have the little thing that you can release if it's getting big inside, which it probably does get big inside too. So that would be good. Put it on a safe space, low to the ground, because the safety inspector, if they ever show up and they see you storing your lye higher than, 3 inches off the ground, but definitely off the ground, you need to do both. Yeah, you'll get in trouble. Just for sure. And, out of the way in a cool, dark space until you're ready for it. Awesome. Using vinegar for your Lye Master Batch. No, don't do that. It creates a really thick, weird consistency. It needs to be used in a couple days, and there's really no point to it. Just use your water, not your vinegar. That's weird. Stop that, for sure. You're just trying to overcomplicate something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated. But I guess the biggest thing to take away from all of this is just the knowledge, just in case you didn't know this until this exact moment. Lye, let's say 5 ounces of lye plus 10 ounces of water equals 15 ounces in your soap, no matter what. And I know it's crazy because we have the off-gassing going on and what looks like off-gassing and all of the heat and everything happening when you put your lye into your water. And so it might seem that you are losing, weight of the lye. And actually, technically you do. You lose a little bit, but it is so slight that you cannot tell. And if you don't trust that process, well, next time you make a lye solution, go ahead and make it with, again, 5 ounces, 10 ounces. You get it. Make your lye solution. Let it cool down. Add up what that total is supposed to be, water plus lye, and then go ahead and pour it into another container and see if it matches. It's going to match. So that's the biggest, most complicating parts that I think people need to wrap their heads around first with Lye Master Batching, that you're not actually losing any lye in that process. But to the rest of it, I don't know that it's necessarily a beneficial thing to be making a master batch of lye. That said, I soap a lot differently than all of you guys do. And so at 4 a.m, I'm not trying to do maths. I'm just trying to make soap. But you guys might be really good at that. So if you want a lye master batch, that's how I'd recommend doing it. And there it is, all things master batch. And yeah, as I said in the video, you're master batching your lye because you use, basically the same oil blend all of the time, or the same water to lye ratios all of the time, and you're not putting anything extra special, super awesome into it, like your milks or your beers or your wines, etc., then yeah, master batching is a good option for sure. I definitely recommend, though, if you're going to be making multiple versions of your master batch, solutions, mark them very clearly. Get a piece of tape and put it around the outside of the container so you know exactly what this solution is and how much you would then need to add to it to make it appropriate for whatever soap it is that you're making. That's one of the reasons why I don't do this, and in general, I don't think beginner soap makers should do it, the master batching of lye, because the potential to forget the step of adding some more water could be bad. You're not going to end up with, awful soap that's dangerous, because it's almost impossible to make dangerous soap, but you could end up with soap batter that gets really thick, really fast, and you're having to throw it into the mold and just press it down to make it work. And so just keep that in mind. It is actually a bit more of an intermediate to advanced, soap maker thing to do the master batching. But when you get there and you decide you want to do it, that's kind of how I recommend you do it. Yeah. I hope you guys had fun today. I hope you learned some stuff. Like I said, it'll be in the playlist for the Back to Basics for now, and you can refer back to this whenever you need to. So that's amazing. I appreciate you guys joining me today. If you want beer soaps, they're at the website, soapandclay.com. Yes, I am distracted. Yes, I am frazzled. First week of school is always a lot. And so I am out of here so I can go, be part of that lot. So thank you. Big special thank you to the Sudsers for being here. I will see you all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.